Hey, are we all set?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, we are starting. Attendees are coming in now.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is LaTanya Jones. I am the Deputy Director at Summer Corps, where we administer the SBIF program on behalf of the Planning and Development Department. Today, we will cover the February 2022 district rollout, and we'll provide you with details about how you can go applying, as well as you'll be able to ask any questions during this presentation. Please feel free to use the Q&A box that's located at the bottom of your screen. And everyone that is attending this webinar today will receive a copy of the will receive a copy of the link to this webinar to view at a later time. And with that, we will hand it over to Nora at the Department of Planning and Development.
Thanks, LaTanya. Good afternoon, and thanks again for joining us today. My name is Nora Curry. I'm the SBIF Program Director for the Department of Planning and Development, and we're glad to have you with us today. As LaTanya said, Summer Corps administers the SBIF program for the city of Chicago, and you'll be hearing from Sylvia Orozco and LaTanya today about the program. And we are excited to share the program with you and some of the new enhancements that we've implemented over the last year. The Small Business Improvement Fund, or SBIF, provides grants to small businesses and property owners to make needed improvements to their properties. The first enhancement that we made last year was a robust 3-year funding plan, the largest in the 20-year history of the program, with $60.2 million invested in 60 tax increment financing districts across the city of Chicago. The second were 8 new program improvements, and to highlight just a few of those, we increased the grant amount that's available to our applicants for commercial properties, $100,000 to $150,000, and for industrial properties from $150,000 to $250,000. We increased the amount that we're able to reimburse our applicants from 75% at the highest rate to 90%. And we're also providing more technical assistance and other enhancements. But Sylvia will outline all of this as she talks about the program and the overview. So I'm going to hand it on over to Sylvia now. And again, thanks for your participation.
Thank you, Nora, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope everyone is staying warm. Again, my name is Sylvia Orozco. I am the Program Director for the Small Business Improvement Fund program. I'm happy to say that I've worked with the SBIF program for over 16 years, and I've assisted hundreds of existing business owners, landlords, and startup businesses. Summer Corps is contracted with the city to administer the program. We are a SBA 504 lender. We administer the SBIF program as well as the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund program. Our purpose here is to guide your vision to reality through financial solutions. So now in its 21st year, SBIF is one of the longest running and most successful programs of the city of Chicago. We've helped retain, expand small businesses in nearly every neighborhood, with dispersing over $105 million to over 1,400 businesses throughout the city of Chicago. So please be advised that this is a non-residential program. We do not cover residential properties here. We don't cover, we do not cover capital or operating expenses. It is strictly for infrastructure repairs. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we will go over what is SBIF, what is our program mission, and grant parameters. Getting started. Whether or not your business is in a SBIF district, which SBIF districts are open or on deck, what are the SBIF program rules, how do you apply, and what is the program timeline, what resources are available to help. We will also go over the February rollout districts as well as sample projects. We will have a SBIF question and answer session as well as provide SBIF facts for you as well. Launched in 1999, the city's Small Business Improvement Fund program helps promote economic development by providing small businesses and landlords with reimbursable grants for permanent building improvement costs. Residential projects are not eligible. SBIF grants use local tax increment financing revenue to reimburse grantees for the pre-approved repair or rehab of their business facilities or adjacent land acquisition. Summer Corps is a program administrator contracted by Chicago's DPD, Department of Planning and Development. Eligible applicants. Properties must be located within a TIF district where SBIF funds are available, and the SBIF is authorized to accept applications. Landlords of commercial or industrial properties are eligible, as well as business owners of commercial or industrial who own or lease their places of business. Tenants with written approval from the property owners. Startups may also apply with a business plan. A current City of Chicago business license is required before disbursement of funds for startups. Eligibility limits for commercial tenant or owner occupied, average of $9 million or gross sales per year in order to qualify for the program. Landlords or commercial or industrial properties, $9 million or less in cumulative net worth and $500,000 or less in liquid assets per individual. For industrial tenants or owner occupied properties, you must have 200 or fewer full-time employees. And all owner occupied properties are subject to both tenant and landlord requirements. What is the maximum grant amount allowed under SBIF? $250,000 is the maximum per industrial property. $150,000 is the maximum per single owner or tenants of a commercial property or landlord. $250,000 max may be granted per multiple owner or tenants of commercial properties, with a maximum of $75,000 assistance per the landlord or tenant. Applicants may receive one or more grants up to their maximum grant program assistance. Once this maximum is reached, the applicants will need to wait 3 years to reapply. What percentage of eligible project costs can be reimbursed? For commercial businesses, if your net worth or sales falls between if it falls between $0 to $3 million, you'd qualify for 90% reimbursement of eligible cost. If sales or net worth are between 3 to 6 million, it's 60% reimbursement. And sales or net worth between $6 to $9 million is 30% reimbursement. All industrial projects qualify for 50% of eligible cost. Here we have a SBIF grant calculation example. So let's say that Grace submits an application for a SBIF grant that's open in a TIF district with a total eligible project cost of $100,000. She's proposing to make building improvements to her existing retail shop, for which she is a tenant. Grace has been in business for 5 years. Over the last 3 years, her gross sales averaged $1.5 million. So here's a breakdown of her eligible costs. So the total project costs are $100,000. As a commercial tenant applicant, her gross sales are less than $3 million, so she qualifies for 90% reimbursement. The city's responsibility at 90% is equal to $90,000. Therefore, the applicant's responsibility will be at 10% equal to $10,000. Is your business or property in a SBIF district? In order to determine whether or not your property falls within a SBIF designated area, you can visit our website at summercorps.com/SBIF to see if your property falls here. So once you get to this page, you will click on number 1, confirm your business is in a SBIF district. Once you get to this page here, you can then enter your property address and it will give you detailed information for that specific property. It will tell you whether or not the property is in a TIF district. If it's in a TIF district, it will give you the anticipated dates of openings as well as local delegate agency information. Eligible SBIF districts in Chicago, span neighborhoods on the north, south, and west sides. Each month marks a new 30-day period in which SBIF districts with available funds are open for applications. Notice of the district openings are provided to relevant aldermen. They're posted on DPD's and Summer Court's website and included in the SBIFgram. So the second step then will be to click on number 2, which SBIF districts are open, which will give you a list of the current month's open application TIP districts, as well as the following month districts that will be opening. What businesses and organization types are ineligible to apply? So this list here, it's not all comprehensive. It includes a list of some of the businesses that do not qualify for SBIF, including chains and franchise businesses, bank branches, liquor stores, nightclubs, places of worship. Those types of businesses do not qualify. If you're not sure, you can always reach out to Summer Court and we'll provide further guidance on that. What improvement costs are eligible for SBIF funding? We cover roofing and facade renovations, components of signs or awnings which are permanently affixed to the building, alterations or structures that are needed for ADA compliance, if you need railings or ramps, if you need ADA accessible restrooms, those are some of the things that we can cover with the grant, as well as HVAC and other mechanical systems, plumbing and electrical work, certain project-related architectural and construction management fees that are related specifically to the SBIF-eligible projects, certain environmental remediation measures, permanent interior renovations, including fixtures, and the purchase of adjacent lot parcels for purposes of expansion of parking. Again, this list is not comprehensive. If you're not sure, please feel free to follow up and we'll be happy to assist you with this. What improvement costs are ineligible for SBIF funding? So SBIF does not cover any new construction, whether it's an addition or expansion from the ground up, any standalone minor repairs or cosmetic improvements, equipment-related expenses such as kitchen appliances, computers, and office furniture are not eligible. Planters surrounding or affixed to the building, fencing, parking lot construction or repair, landscaping, or work on interior of residential units. What are the SBIF design requirements? In order to receive funding, the projects must conform to design requirements, including meeting DPD's design guidelines. Projects shall also comply with design guidelines and additional neighborhood requirements as described in the guidelines. Style guides, community plans, and other planning documents that are associated with the TIF area and neighborhood in which the property is located. Applicants are strongly advised to consult with Summer Corps and design professionals on design requirements and guidelines before drawing up plans for work. All applicants for commercial properties who are approved for a grant of $25,000 or more shall be required to make at least one exterior improvement using at least 10% of the maximum amount of their grant, including but not limited to facade repair, windows and doors, other exterior improvements that are eligible subject to DPD's approval. This requirement can be waived at DPD's sole discretion if the applicant can demonstrate to DPD's satisfaction that no exterior improvements are needed because improvements have been recently completed or the exterior feature of the building have been well maintained and are consistent with the guidelines. What measures are in place to ensure that the applicant complies with the program rules? So checks will be performed on all applicants prior to funding to ensure that they are not indebted to the city. They are current on property taxes and comply with child support laws. Each applicant will sign an economic disclosure affidavit. The grantees will be required to sign an affidavit certifying that they will not relocate outside of the TIF district or sell the business within a 3-year period following disbursement of funds. In cases of SBIF for land purchase of land ownership will be required before the reimbursement can be made. How do you apply? You can download a copy of the SBIF application at our website, summercorps.com/SBIF. To apply, you must complete the application and email it over to sbif@summercorps.com within the designated open acceptance period. What is the SBIF program timeline? Now, there's always a possibility that if there's more funding requested than we have available, we may have to conduct a lottery. That lottery is conducted, it's open to the public, and it basically just gives us an opportunity to conduct a randomized draw order in which we start processing the applications in the order that they are drawn. So if that is the case, then once we get started with the applications, the first stage would be that the applicant supplies any missing information to complete their application, which they're granted up to 20 days. And once they're deemed eligible, we then move them forward to the second stage, which will be the planning phase, where they have an opportunity to submit their plans, bids, and specifications, and all debt should be cured within 120 days. So please note that stage 1 and 2 must be completed before the final review and project approval by DPD. If approved, you will receive your conditional commitment letter, signaling you are able to begin construction. You will then be moved into the third stage, which is the project construction phase. You'll have up to 10 months to complete the construction. The proof of permit or permit application, which is concurrent with the 10-month construction phase, must be submitted within 120 days following the date of the commitment letter. Also, once that requirement is met, the applicant must also provide proof of sufficient funds to complete the project. Again, this is concurrent with the 10-month time frame. You have up to 120 days from the date of approval to submit either a commitment letter. The applicant must prove that they currently have sufficient equity to complete the project, showing at least 50% of the funds needed to cover the cost to keep the application active. Once the project is complete, the reimbursement takes usually about 4 to 6 weeks for processing. Unless DPD has granted an extension of time, applicants who do not complete each stage within the required phase time limit will be disqualified. A maximum of 2 extensions may be granted with DPD's approval in the case of unavoidable delays due to extraordinary circumstances. DPD may also, on a case-by-case basis, grant a grant-eligible application an additional amount of time to complete any program requirements. In such case, DPD shall have discretion to determine the appropriate length of time. What is required to deem a project completed and receive funds? Required proof of payment documentation is sent to Summer Corps for review, which should include sworn statements, invoices, copies of canceled checks, and final waivers of lien. Summer Corps will complete a final site visit to confirm that the work has been completed. You should also submit copies of your building permits as applicable, and once the information is reviewed and acceptable, submitted to the city for reimbursement. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for the grant to be available by check. What resources are available to help? You can visit our website to access resources to support your SBIF project. We have a list of lenders that are familiar with the program who are willing to lend the financing if you do not have the funding up front. We can sign a letter of assignment, excuse me, a letter of direction directly to the lender so that the proceeds of the grants go directly to the lender to pay off a portion of your loan. There's also a list of SBIF contractors and technical assistance providers, as well as other small business resources. Get to know your local delegate agency. These organizations are assigned to assist small business owners in the SBIF districts that are opening in February 2022. So these are all delegate agencies that are available in your area. So you can reach out to them. They are familiar with the SBIF program, so they're available to assist with any questions, with, making sure that Summer Corps receives these documents and basically just being another resource available to you to help guide you through the process. And here we have just a few more delegate agencies. Keep in mind that this presentation here will be emailed to you, so you have this information handy. For February 2022, these are our open districts that we are currently accepting applications through March 2nd at 5 p.m. These TIF districts include 24th in Michigan, Clark and Montrose, Devon Western, Galewood Armitage, and Humboldt Park. Again, these applications must be submitted via email to sbif@summercorps.com. Please allow us up to 2 days to confirm receipt of your application. So if you do not hear from us within 2 days of submitting your application, please feel free to give us a call until we, if we don't reach out to you, you can give us a call to confirm. If you don't hear from us within that allowed time, feel free to reach out. All applicants are responsible for making sure that your submissions are received within the open acceptance period. Any application submitted outside of the open acceptance period will not be considered for the grant. Here we are highlighting Naveen's Cuisine. This is a project in the Humboldt Park TIF district at 2523 West North Avenue. This was a tattoo shop that was converted into a restaurant. So here we have the before pictures. They completely redid the facade and the interior as well as the basement of this property here. And this next slide will show a few pictures of the after. So as you can see, this is a beautiful transformation here. And the applicant of Naveen's Cuisine received $100,000 for the renovations here. Some of the work that was included with this project included exterior masonry work, replacement of the storefronts, a complete build out for the commercial space and the basement, construction of an interior staircase to the basement, construction of new restrooms, building systems, and also concrete work that included digging out 24 inches deep and pouring new concrete. What additional documents should I have on hand to submit along with my SBIF application? While it's not required when submitting the initial application form, please note that some of these items are required to complete the application process. The required documents vary depending on the applicant type. So if you know that you have these documents, please, just keep these handy so that when Summer Corps reaches out to you, you'll have this information available to you. What are the financial requirements to participate in the SBIF program? So the SBIF is a reimbursable grant. So project participants should be prepared with financing to support the permanent building improvements. Proof of financing is not required until stage 3, but the applicants are encouraged to contact their local business lender or reach out to one of our lenders listed on the Summer Corps website in a timely manner. Grantees may choose to receive their grant funds through an escrow account. DPD in its sole discretion may authorize up to 3 draws of funding from the escrow to reimburse an applicant as work is being completed on a project. Any fees associated with the use of an escrow account will be taken out of the grant award. Are startups or new businesses eligible? Yes, most startups can apply. Startup applicants will need to supply a detailed business plan and projections of the business's income and expenses for its first 36 months of operation as part of their application materials. The City of Chicago reserves the right to impose additional conditions for funding in connection with startup business applications. If you've only been in business for 1 to 2 years, Summer Corps requires tax returns and a projection of gross sales to equal 3 years of data. Please note that bars, taverns, hotels, and motel applicants must have held their applicable license and been in business for at least 1 calendar year. Am I eligible if I live outside of Chicago? The important consideration is where you have your business or your property. To participate in SBIF, your property must be in the City of Chicago as the funding source comes from City of Chicago property taxes. If you live in another area, please call your city's planning, economic development, or community development department to see what other programs may be available to assist small businesses. What if my business has both, or what if my building rather has both business and residential space? This program is primarily for business use, but there are mixed use exceptions. For these buildings, many envelope projects such as roofing, facade improvements, and tuck pointing can be eligible. Will there be enough SBIF funds for applicants? Each tax increment financing district that has SBIF program authorized in it has limited funds reserved for the program. So if the demand for SBIF is greater than the available funding supply, then a lottery will be conducted to determine the order, excuse me, in which each grant application may be accommodated. If any surplus funds become available, they will be allocated to waitlisted applicants. Applicants for properties that are located in an Invest Southwest corridor, excuse me, shall be given priority for funding and the lottery. Applicants for a property located in a target corridor shall be second in priority for funding and the lottery. The remaining applicants shall be provided funding if available and placed on the waitlist if applicable after applicants in the Invest Southwest corridor and target corridors are addressed first. Is there SBIF funding available in my district? Every SBIF area has its own budget and the city refills it if it has TIF funds available and if there's a demonstrated need for grant money. You can email the Summer Corps team at sbif@summercorps.com to see if there are funds in your SBIF. We also maintain an interested parties list for funds, which you can also send an email to sbif@summercorps.com to join. When more funding becomes available or the city allocates more funding, we will let you know. The interested parties list helps the city gauge demand for additional funding. What if I am in a TIF and not a SBIF? Tax increment financing is the mechanism that funds the Small Business Improvement Fund program. So if you are in a TIF district and it does not have a SBIF, please contact your alderman. Here is our contact information for the SBIF team, as well as Nora Curry, Director of the SBIF program at the Department of Planning and Development. And also here are the two websites that are available to you. If you visit the chicago.gov/SBIF website, there is a way that you can translate all of the information there. So if you're looking for any other language, this website will automatically be translated according to the language that you select. Again, thank you very much, and a copy of the presentation and the link to a video will be emailed to all attendees. Now we can go ahead and do the question and answer session.
Thanks, Sylvia. So we received a few questions. And again, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that if you do have a question, please feel free to put it in the Q&A box located at the bottom of the screen. So first question is, someone wants to know if a Chicago business license doesn't apply to a professional business, would the state of Illinois license be sufficient?
It does depend on the type of business that you are currently operating. So there are some exemptions that are granted. If you have a state of Illinois license, it may suffice. But most City of Chicago businesses do require city licenses. So if you don't have a state license, you may have to contact BACP, the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, to verify that you are not required to have a license. And we will need something in writing. Otherwise, we will need either a state of Illinois license or a City of Chicago business license.
Okay, gotcha. The next question is, someone is looking to see which types of businesses are not eligible. I'll go back to that slide, but can you just list a few of them while I try to find this slide?
Sure. So some of the businesses that do not qualify are chains, business franchises, liquor stores, payday loan stores, places of worship, tobacco locations. Here we go. Junkyards, adult uses, nightclubs, currency exchange. There's a few things that are listed here that disqualify an applicant from the SBIF program, but again, it's not comprehensive. So if you're not sure, you can always reach out directly to Summer Corps. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
All right, thank you. So the next question is, someone owns a 2-flat building. Would this be something that we can cover through this program?
If it's strictly residential, we cannot cover any work to that space. If it happens to be a mixed-use building, we can cover basically the shell of the building, which will include the roof and the facade, and also the commercial interior space. But if it's strictly residential, we cannot assist with that problem.
Okay. The next one is, what about environmental or contamination projects? What type of things would that include?
So that covers soil contamination. It covers, whether the space has an underground tank that's no longer being used. Those types of environmental remediation projects are SBIF eligible, but also keep in mind that, it can be very time consuming for the work to be completed, as well as for the state of Illinois to issue the no further remediation letter, which will be required before we can disperse SBIF funds.
Okay. The next question is, if a person has a 3-flat, as far as having 1 commercial unit and 2 residential above, besides the facade work, what are acceptable expenses that are covered under SBIF?
It would only be just the facade work, the roof, and also the interior of the commercial space. We do not cover any residential sections or common use areas.
All right.
And also, one thing I want to mention on that also is that we do not cover the residential windows. We would be able to cover things like tuck pointing or, masonry work in regards to replacing bricks, things of that nature, but the windows itself would not be eligible.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Next question would be, does a commercial public parking, I'm assuming a parking lot, will be eligible for funds if it requires lighting and structural improvements to open for their business to operate?
Unfortunately, no, we do not cover that sort of work. It will have to be renovations done to the property itself. We don't cover any exterior work that is not permanently attached to the building. So we don't cover parking lots or any standalone lighting.
Okay, are daycare centers eligible?
Yes, daycare centers are eligible.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so someone said you expressed that the business cannot be sold within 3 years. If for any reason the business is forced to be sold, does that mean the grant needs to be returned?
That is correct, yes. The grant will need to be reimbursed to the city of Chicago if it is sold within 3 years.
Someone owns a health and wellness business and it's in the startup stage. Are they eligible? Are we eligible for, I'm sorry. Okay, are they eligible to still apply? What kind of information would they need to provide?
Okay, so they would still be eligible to submit an application. They will be required to submit a business plan, including projections of income and expenses for the next 3 years, as well as any other materials that Summer Corps will send over to them based off of their application type.
Okay. Okay, I have another question for you. If the project has already been started and plans already approved by the city, is the business still eligible for the grant? Or can the project only be started after the application is approved?
So we cannot cover any work that's already been paid for and completed. If there's still something outstanding that you have not yet started on, we can possibly cover that work. But you would have to hold off and go through the entire SBIF process, get your approval and then commence on that work.
I think that might be all of the questions. I think we covered all of the questions.
Okay, and just as a reminder, we are currently accepting applications through March 2nd at 5 p.m. That is our strict deadline date.
Okay, there was one that just popped up. I think I overlooked it. Someone asked, can business owners use a ITIN when submitting an application? I'm not sure what that's referring to.
Yes, they can have an ITIN in order to apply for SBIF.
Okay. And I believe, wait, we have one more question that just popped up. If an owner operates out of several locations within 2 different SBIFs, and they have been previously awarded SBIF funds for one location, can the owner participate? Can the owner apply for funding for their other location?
Yes, they can still apply for the other location if they have not previously received SBIF funding, even if they are looking to apply for the other location that they have received SBIF funding for, they may qualify depending on when the funds were dispersed. So if they receive the maximum grant amounts, they would have to wait a 3-year period. But if they did not receive the maximum, they can apply for the difference up to the max. And they can also submit an application for their separate location as long as it's within a SBIF eligible district that's accepting applications.
Okay. I believe that's all the questions that we have.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today, everyone. And again, you will receive a copy of the presentation and also a link to the webinar. So please feel free to, visit our websites to get additional information. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you all and have a great day. Stay safe and warm.